Well, hello. Welcome to another night class. Who's here? Who's here first? CW, you're here. I laugh when you guys call me professor. You know what's so funny, okay? Where is Adam? When Adam shows up, because you know Adam, he watches our night class at work sometimes, not judging. If you can watch me at work, I think that's awesome. But anyway, I was thinking you could sound really legitimate and say, I'm taking a night class, right? Isn't that the funniest thing? Where you have a crazy professor who, you know, it has to be a remedial college when your professor is also a student, okay? Try to explain it. Make it make sense. I'm a student with you. Kate, how's it? It's going well. Roxanne is here from Detroit. Don't mess with Roxanne. Penny Lane, well, hello. Phil, not Bill. Don't get it confused. This is Phil, not Bill. Well, hello. Nice to have you in class. Deanne, hello in Idaho. How are the potatoes lately? Bernadette, hello there, miss. How are you? Scorched Siren. Ooh, what a name. I haven't seen your name. That's a really cool name. I'm going to talk about sirens, okay? So you have to tell me like how you came up with that name. What is your perception of sirens? Because I'm going to do another deep dive on, I think I touched on it a little bit, the Marine Kingdom. I want to look into some things I've been working on. I'm going to touch on a little of it this class. Tina is here. Good evening. Adam is here. Night shift. You're taking night classes, right? You could sound really legitimate, right? You could say, yeah, I do this night school. They'll be like, are you kidding me? Empress Vibes. Hey, I haven't seen you in a minute. Calio 1111. This is going to be, I hope it's going to be good. All right, Sea Breeze. Well, hello, Christine. Hello, reporting for class. Right, Adam? You could sound like you're really doing something legit. People won't question it, right? Renee the Roadrunner, hello. Shayna, I haven't seen you in a minute. Hi, how are you? Hello. Cindy in Utah, very nice. You say Vanity and Lola Falana have similar stories. Isn't that interesting? Do they? I know a little bit about Lola Falana. Victoria, well, hello. You said you're in and out taking care of your dad. Oh, okay. Bless you and your dad. Thanks for showing up. I appreciate it. And let's see. Oh, Scorched Siren answer. Well, I used to find the whole mermaid thing cool, and you're a blacksmith. Oh, that's so cool. Where it came from. Oh, well, like I said, I'm going to do a little more research, and I'm going to talk about the whole mermaid thing coming up soon. Trelane, well, hello, you made it to class. Jamie, you're here. All right, so just hold the door open for anybody else who is going to come in. Tonight, I want to talk about, a continuation. If you had a chance to look at the previous upload that I posted, I think I posted it yesterday. Hello, Desiree. How are you? Thanks for joining. Oh, thank you. You're so sweet. So yeah, the last video, it was heavy duty. I figured from the title, if it was going to be a little too much, that you would at least know that it was a little deeper than norm, okay? A little bit triggering. It was dark, very dark, yes, but I really needed to get through that. I felt that it was necessary to connect things, especially because a lot of us hear these names tossed around and we don't know, I didn't know how it connects to things that we're dealing with. And it helps to understand the psychopathy, you could say, the psychological profile and makeup of the people that, you know, are doing things right now on the world stage. Where did they get these ideas? And what is this? Because somebody put a really good comment. Let's see if I could find it. She said, hold it, I'm going to go to the comment. She said that something about, 1 minute, and I appreciate your comments. I do read them. I'm scrolling down to see where one of the comments by Rose, she was saying that this really took her aback. She said, you know, coming out of World War II, she thought that, you know, our culture was a little more innocent, the Leave It to Beaver, Lassie, Ozzie and Harriet type of stuff. And she didn't think that a lot of these things that I covered in the last video, she didn't think it occurred until the 1960s, really. And I was with her. I didn't know this so much had happened in the 1940s, which we're going to talk about that, you know, period of time a little bit. And you know how we jump back and forth all down the timeline. But it was something else I want to look at, a message that I thought was really, really like good. You know, all of them I love. But she said something about, you know, it's hard, I know, for some people to look at this stuff, and I listen, I understand. If you think I should give more warning, you let me know. I hope you didn't get, you know, triggered too badly with that previous video. But let's see, I found the comment. She said, it was you, Molly. You were saying, thank you for beaming light on the dark. And she was saying that some people, you know, it's hard, you know, being in the clouds with fairy tales is still mind control, she says. Those who know can't sleep. And that's pretty much like how I know a lot of us, we deal with things. Hey, Terrence. Well, hello. Thanks for joining. And 420 Wild Dragon. Hello. Nice to see you here. And Sheridan, you came in. Did I miss anybody? If I missed you, I'm sorry. I'll come and see you. I'll tune in. Okay. So, hey, Nappy Mimi Q joined us. Hello. Hello. Love you. I'm glad you were here. Yes. So a lot of us had this impression that previous decades were very innocent. You know, they were to a degree, but there were things going on. I shared in a post this past week that my grandfather was being initiated. I don't know how deep he went into it because he didn't like to talk about it, but he was affiliated with the Rosicrucian order, and he had an experience, is all I know. I don't know much more. He had an experience that it really shook him. And it shook him so badly, I said in my post that it like scared him into the arms of Jah. So someone asked me, I wonder what happened. I do too. I can only imagine what happened. Lisa, good evening and thank you. And yeah, so I don't know how many of you have dabbled in the dark arts. I'm going to give a testimony one day about my experience. I think it's important because some of us may have done things that we don't really understand because it's all masked and it's packaged very beautifully. It really is. And those are some of the things, they're very subtle. So just understanding that when your soul is being lured into something that it's not, it won't be good for your soul, your spirit. It's not going to come like a monster, right? A lot of times it's not coming like boo. It's going to be transformed into something beautiful that it could lure you at least long enough. It will turn into that scary monster, though. It does turn on the people. But at first, I don't think that many people would say that they understood the danger that they were in when they were hosting entities, playing around with things they truly don't understand. Bridget, hello from the Bay Area. Thanks for joining. Yeah, so just know that if you had an experience like that, there's no need to feel, shame. I just want you to know a lot of us are reevaluating systems of belief, various people, from religious gurus and people of authority. This is all shifting and it can be hard to navigate, but that's why it's good to talk, just to express. That's why I wanted to get together. I didn't want to wait too long after that last video because I knew it was pretty heavy. Oh, Big Pontiac. Well, hello to you. Greetings. Thanks for joining. God's Alley. Hello. You're in Southwest Florida? Wow, nice. Thanks for joining. Tina, you haven't seen it yet? Oh, we have to watch out now. Oh, okay. You're saying we have to watch out now for some YouTube channels programming with a lot of false hope and misinformation. That's a good point. And eventually I'd like to talk more about that because this is the time that we always heard for those that have been scholars of the scriptures. And we always heard that there was going to be a time in history. We thought we would be those people that would experience it. We thought we would be the generation. Well, not only do people that would say that they are children of Jah, there is another kingdom, as you know. They are proud to say that they are children of Lucifer, Satan, whatever entity they call him. They would say that they were his children, and they believe in a totally different cosmology. They believe that Jah is evil and Jah wants to stop them from, ascending to their highest, well, basically to be God, to become a God. So they are in rebellion against anything that says other. And it's the same old thing from Genesis. And that's why I love going back in the history. Genesis is really the key to a lot of understanding of what we're looking at right now. And it may not seem like it's important, but trust me, I am really enjoying going back to learn about things that I never knew. I never put these connections together. So I appreciate that you are helping me. I love your comments. I love the chatmosphere. And this is a wonderful time to experience being in this world realm because we're seeing things that are unprecedented. And I know that it's not for, as they say, the faint of heart. But if you feel that your heart is faint, is getting weak, pray for strength. Let's pray for each other, encourage each other, that you wouldn't be here if you were not prepared. And you can do more preparation, but it's not about frantic fearful preparation. This is the time for calmness. And to listen to Jah's leading, because he will lead us in these times. He will tell us how to prepare. You consult with him, you will not go wrong. So, without further ado, I want to talk about Denise Matthews. How many people know? I'm pretty sure a lot of you know about Denise Matthews. Are you familiar with Denise Matthews? Anyone? Let me know. Scorched Siren is saying, I thought about changing my name, but you still feel it's appropriate as you have been burnt by the luring song of the siren. Yes, right? Again, I really want to talk more about that. I'm glad that, this is even coming up. Okay, so Lady Hawk, hello. You don't know about, okay, a few of you don't know about Denise Matthews. Okay, Denise Matthews, I want to talk about her tonight because she factors into this whole subject of the Scarlet Woman. And she was a woman that had a very dramatic transformation in her just life that was visible, and she shared it freely. So let's see, I think Big Pontiac, you were saying signed with Motown, Denise led a pop group. Yeah, so you know about her, the Prince years. Yeah, so if anybody knows about Prince, she was a protege, they would call it, of Prince around, the 80s, that time period. So her name is Denise Matthews was her name. She has died. She was from Canada. I believe the Niagara Falls area, or possibly Toronto. You could double check me. Yes, Vanity 6. There you are. So you all know about that. So Denise Matthews was the leader of a trio group that Prince put together. And it was the kind of group that it was all about how you looked. It wasn't about talent. Let's be for real. She was beautiful, stunning, and she had an adventurous spirit. I think that's why she was so appealing. Not just beauty, but she had it seems like a very over the top, effervescent personality, as they say, along with beauty and intelligence. So she had a few things going in her favor, but I think it was also, she was fearless and very adventurous. So that can be used a lot to lure us into things that are not safe. I'm an adventurous person. Probably a lot of you are adventurous, but we want to make sure we are adventurous and wise at the same time. And when we're young, of course, wisdom isn't in full supply, and you feel invincible and all of these things. So a lot of these mistakes are made in youth. If we can only get through to the youth and warn them, but it's often not taken to heart. A lot of people have to go through the hard knock university. So this is one of those, examples. But again, for youthful people that would want to, check in and see what the older generation might know, it's wise, because our lives can be cautionary tales, because the youth are who they target. The Dark Kingdom targets the youth. I think we all agree on that. Anybody who can't see that, I would just challenge you to really be honest with yourself. So again, I titled this Solomon's Sirens because King Solomon factors in as well. And I want to do a deep dive on King Solomon at another time, but I will touch on a little bit of, his whole narrative, because I am beginning to see where his influence, is bigger than I thought today in our times now, because a lot of the brotherhood and sisterhood, their knowledge comes from the most wise man. Solomon was considered the wisest man in history, but he had weaknesses. So his wisdom went but so far. He liked the women a little bit, would you say? And his unbridled hedonism, you could say, is seen in many wealthy men. And he was very wealthy, very powerful. And a lot of, yes, the Solomon, big part of the Masons, they call themselves, don't they call themselves Solomon's sons or Solomon's children? So this is something I can see directly correlated with the things that I learned about Aleister Crowley, Jack Parsons, and L. Ron Hubbard. So these are things that, for me, I think it's real clear. Hello, Camilla. Thank you for joining. Hi there. And I'm going to see who's here in a bit. So I want to get into more about this subject. And I have a few notes, so bear with me if you hear the papers crumpling. All right, so Denise Matthews was born in Canada, came down to the States, and she quickly became a favorite of Prince. But as you know, Prince, he didn't have just one woman, and he pretty much seemed to have women interchangeable. Like if he didn't want this woman, he had a few more, like a Pez dispenser, right? Of the same kind of woman, because he had a type, right? Wouldn't we say Prince had a type of woman that looked very, I would say, racially, what's the word? Like ambiguous, racially ambiguous, beautiful, women. He had a type. So we've seen his type over the years. Some people have types. They stick with certain types. So, but the thing is that he can replace the woman. It wasn't that he loved the woman for her uniqueness. It's just that, he had women, like I said, like a Pez dispenser. Okay, next, zoop, 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 right? So this is what I am now seeing that King Solomon was like. Because, I mean, come on, we heard that he had harems. And that's another thing that we have to, I had to realize that just because they're mentioned in the Bible doesn't mean they're going to be this perfect person. We see this as a historical document. And King Solomon, as wise as he was very wicked in the sense of he didn't obey Jah. And he was given so much. So by him being rebellious in certain areas, it made a lot of people suffer. And the main thing is that he married all these different women, and it's not about interracial stuff, but it's about marrying a bloodline. If you're not sure and you're marrying into a bloodline, you have to know who you are combining your DNA with. Okay. And we haven't been taking that serious, and we have problems for it. So, King Solomon with the different wives, and now we can think about the video I just put up with Jack Parsons and L. Ron Hubbard and Aleister Crowley, or however you all like to say his name. So think about the things that those three men did and how they have influenced the modern day Crowleyan type of thelema. These are words, if you haven't seen that video, these are words that would definitely be attributed to that trio. And if you have a chance, I would encourage you to watch it, but I will warn you that it is dark and it is racy. Okay, so that is the warning up front. I think from the title, you could see that it was going to be a little bit racy. But if you think about King Solomon marrying into women, bringing women into the line of David that are from tribes, okay? Tribes that practice very detestable things. Things that we didn't know truly what they were. A lot of us have been very innocent that we didn't know that people practice the kind of things that we're now. It's like disclosure is happening in so many areas. I was just listening to a podcaster maybe last week that talked about, remember we talked about the rapper Nas. And I want to also explain, if you're new, I talk about popular culture and what they consider the stars because it's very important to me to make the connections between the ancient world and this present world to see that things are all interconnected. They had stars too. Those were the titans, the men of renown. So they dealt with the same issues of idolizing humans or mixture, hybrids, because I do believe that I take the Bible very literal in a lot of places. So I do believe in hybrids and chimera and things like that. And I don't think that it's new science. This is ancient science. So King Solomon was the, you could say, doorway to bring this ancient science into the modern world, but it's done through gatekeepers. So they don't let the uninitiated know about these ancient secrets, but they recruit through many different layers of recruitment to see who can carry forth their ultimate plan. So you all know they're very organized in that sense. They probably have a lot of infighting, but the ultimate goal is, to create a world that, I think, didn't Jojo Magoo mention, or as they're saying, he announced the New World Order or something. He pretty much said it just like Bush said it. It's not a conspiracy. I have a tinfoil turban, but come on, you can literally hear them say this stuff. So we know that this stuff is in their plans. People have whistleblown and told us. So King Solomon, very key, right? Very key. Now, I don't know how you think King Solomon might have looked. I don't think that's so important, but it's sometimes interesting, right? To just imagine. I pulled this imagery of this, man with the locks and stuff. It looks dramatic, yeah, right? But I mean, we don't know what King Solomon looked like. Does anybody have an idea who he might look like to you? Have you studied him, his phenotype and all of this stuff? So yeah, they have an obsession with Solomon's temple. Isn't that their ultimate thing? I used to really be into this kind of stuff, and I would keep my eyes out on the Temple Mount in Jerusalem, and I would keep up with, the utensils that are being created for the third temple, and the red heifer cow for the, ceremonial, whatever they had to do. And this cow is without blemish, and it already has been bred. So all these things were supposed to be, I'm talking in the early 90s and stuff. And I was just, really into this. It felt like it could happen at any time. We were still yet looking forward to the year 2000, which that came and went. But even though things may not seem like they happened, now when you start doing research like I just did, like this Jack Parson stuff, then you're like, oh boy, things have been happening all right, but just not on the surface for us to see. But now we're in a different time. It is the information, we are in, it's like a flood. I know, we talk about the flood, the deluge. We're in a flood of information right now. And that is actually more challenging than not having information, because there's so much misinformation. And that's the whole thing about navigating a flood of information. How do you navigate and know that you are receiving truth? How do you all do it? Share it in the chatmosphere, because some people are just starting to rub their eyes and open them up. And what you see when you open your eyes, especially to open them right now, where it's just clown show on steroids, it has to be pretty daunting for some. So if it's something that you employ in order to navigate this flood of information, please share. So the Song of Solomon, I'm just talking about that. Thank you. You have no idea. Adam says you have no idea. Sandy, discernment. You pray for discernment. Yes. That's the best thing right now. I know we say it all the time. It may start sounding cliche, but it works. We have to. Deanne, some days it's hard to navigate the truth, like with this new judge appointee. Yeah, and I call them the hermetic mystery plays. All the world's a stage, and then you see these things, and if you are able to just peek below the surface, just a little peek, and you get to see, like, wait a minute, it's such theatrics, and you don't know what's real and what isn't real at this point. It is so ridiculous. Jamie, hey, discernment is the only way. Searching topics to verify. Yes. And research. There you are. God's Alley says, I go with my heart's impression when something just seems off. Thank you. Thanks for sharing that. So I'm going to just not touch on this. I'm going to save all the good Solomon stuff for another time, but I want to mention the Song of Solomon, which we don't talk about that a lot in Christian, circles. It's seen as risque, racy, because it's about sex. And even though we have this weird culture where, sex is so degraded, and it's insulting how you could turn on the TV and you're just bombarded with commercials that are, cheesy, double entendres and all kinds of weird things. Like, it's almost like being in a boy's bathroom or something, and they're talking about sex, and it's like, you would think that, people aren't used to it, the way that they act. But once you start to understand the psychology of this era that we're in, you realize why things are like that, because we've gone outside of so many boundaries that we're in uncharted waters, and it's not safe. Frankly, it's just not safe for your soul, for your spirit. So the Song of Solomon Yeah, God is talking about sex. It's a sensual book, and it may make people like blush, but it's in the Bible for some reason. So why don't churches talk about it without the sort of like, oh, the jokes and the whatever? It's like that's why things are so unbalanced, because the whole scripture should be presented and discussed, not just cherry picking certain books that will keep your seats filled so you can get your money and live like the devil in the world, like anybody else. If they really taught what was in the scriptures, they would have two people sitting probably in the pews, right? A lot of churches, that's what they're afraid of. So, anyway, you could tell I'm church hurt, right? Yes, I'm church hurt. I've been church hurt. I've told you. I haven't gotten into it all the way. We're going to talk about church hurt one day too. I'm telling you, all my topics that I want to talk about, I am completely booked on topics. I love it though. It is no shortage of topics, okay? If you have any topics you really think are great, share them with me, but don't get mad at me if I don't cover it, okay? Right when you want me to, I would love to, but you see, I will get to it. Sometimes it might be something that I was just about to do, because I have years and years, so many of these books. So bear with me, okay? I'll get around to it. But I also pray for my leading. I asked Jah, like, what should I talk about? Like, and I am led to talk about things, and it's not always pretty, but it's necessary. It's necessary. We have to talk about the uncomfortable things, right? So back to the Song of Solomon. This is something where the act of intercourse can be done within boundaries that are safe. Is that a good way to say it? It can be enjoyed, and it can be within this safety zone where you're not going to be a jump off. You're not going to be a booty call. You're not going to be all the names in this like throwaway society, how people are treated. It's safety in being within boundaries that make sense, that are natural, organic, and for your good, not to cut you off from having fun, but to keep you safe. And it's the safety is about your soul. I know we care a lot about our body and the safety with that, but we don't think about our soul. So when you think about King Solomon, I was just thinking about what it might have been like, in this depiction of Solomon, he looks like this, very, very handsome Middle Eastern Persian type of look, right? That phenotype with the beard that some of us love. We call it the terrorist beard. I'm sorry. So he's got the terrorist beard going, and he's kind of, look at him. That's a handsome guy, right? Right, ladies? So look at all the women all around him. Can you imagine what kind of headspace this dude was in? Like, he has harems of women from all these different tribes, freaky women, freaky, nasty, freaky women from other tribes that do nasty, freaky things, okay? And listen, if you don't want to do it, he's got you like a Pez dispenser. Next, poop, 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 poop. Next, get rid of her. He wants something freakier on Freaky Friday, right? So he's got a harem, baby. It's nothing you're going to do to impress him, okay? If you catch feelings for Solomon, you're pretty much toast, because he doesn't love them hoes, okay? He don't love them hoes. That's what he's singing. So look at the women with their harps playing. He walks in the door, they're playing his songs, okay? This dude is running everything. Do you hear me? So you can get an idea. That's what I'm saying. I want us to love this kind of history, and we just think about, like, what would this dude be like, okay? You couldn't tell him anything. If you try to say, "Oh, I went on a vacation to Bali," he's like, "I've got like 2 villas in Bali." Okay, you can't. It's like, what are you gonna do? Okay, he's got it all. He's got all the chicks too. So yeah, pimping. This is big pimping. Okay, this isn't small pimping. This is big pimping. Okay. These men out here who think they're pimping, you better go check with King Solomon, because you're small pimping, way small pimping. Okay. So I just want you to get a look at this dude and just imagine all the freak, nasty things that he was into. He wasn't perfect. So, okay, I kind of look at, maybe, okay, you can call me racist, whatever you want to do. You're going to do it anyway. I kind of think of my Solomon, if I were thinking of Solomon, he kind of looks like this, okay? Kind of like this. Does that make anybody mad? You like that? They're small pimping. They, baby, they small pimping. They have no idea what it is to be a pimp until you study Solomon. Okay, so yeah, he's got lions. He's the crazy guy. He walks with lions. The lions, like, he might smack the lion if it gets out of hand. He is running these lions. So again, who's going to top him? Who's going to top him? Anybody? Can you name a person that tops this dude right here with the lions and the harems and his theme song playing when he walks into any room? What? Play with him if you want to. Y'all could play if you wanna. And then who is the woman who is braiding his hair? Okay, he's got somebody braiding his hair, baby. He's probably got 3 women braiding his hair while he's getting pedicures and manicures. What? Try it. Nobody's pimping like this. Nobody. Okay, so look at this picture, right? If you were to like just look at it a minute. Like, here's Sheba, Queen Sheba, right? She's coming to see this king. Everybody would come to see him because he was just that guy, right? He was that guy. You had to come and see him. You had to pull up. Look at the lions. Those are gold lions, okay? What? Look at this palace. So she's going to see the king, and she's a pretty big deal. You know, she's got a big Instagram following, but look at how nervous. She kind of looks nervous. Like, he's got everybody, like, what is going on with all these servants? It looks like a monkey. He's even got a monkey as a servant. Who does that? The monkey looks like it's working over there. What? This dude is unbelievable. So yeah, there you are. He's got just, wow, what a court. Yeah, it's a monkey, you all. I'm looking really good. What is going on? It's like the monkey is holding a fan of feathers. So they are what? Those are fans in their hands with peacock feathers. Y'all, I don't care if you were in Detroit in the 70s during the whole pimp thing. Nobody has anything on this dude. Let's see, God's Alley. You think Sheba was a Nephilim bloodline? That's interesting. I'm going to make a note of that. I want to look into those kind of things, like the Nephilim. I want to talk about that more. The Nephilim, the Raphaim, did I say it right? The Raphaim. So the Nephilim, the Raphaim, the Seraphim. I want to talk about all the Eames. We're going to get into it, okay? But that's an interesting thing. I want to definitely look into that whole thing. Okay, so here's some more art. People coming to see King Solomon. He's the biggest deal. He gives them knowledge. Like if they have a problem, he's the one. Remember when the women were fighting over the baby because one woman's baby died, and then, she took the other woman's baby and tried to act like it was her baby. And so he tested the heart of a mother, right? It was so wise to say, well, both of you women make your decision by you can cut the baby in half and each get a half. And it's like whoever like recoiled at that answer, that was the mother. So he did like really cool things like that, right? Did I remember my Bibles? Maybe I'm not as, I don't know. You remember these things, right? Even though you're not in the study, right? So yeah, you can see, look at him with the game, as they call it. He's kicking game to the ladies. Look at him. You've met people like him with the charisma. They got to hold your hand when they're looking at you in the eyes and they have that stare, the cult leader stare that you're afraid to look in their eyes because they're going to steal your soul. The charmer, right? The snake charmer, right? The smooth talker. That's right. He didn't care, I think, about your age, okay? He didn't care about your age, your color. He took every color, every size, every age. Look at this man. She's finished. She's going to be in the harem by 5 o'clock. She's in the harem already. He's going out personally recruiting. Nobody could stand a chance with that. So boy, oh boy, he's got the women, got the kind of chicks that hang out with lions too, and she's got all the food, and look at her. She's ready to have good times, right? So this is what he deals with. These are the kind of women, not the everyday kind of lady. These are the kind of chicks that he runs around with. Are you getting the picture? So he's bored. After all, he realized it was all vanity. If you ever look at the book of Ecclesiastes, he is so bored with all of these women. They are coming at him night and day to his court. They want to be part of the harem. They're trying out, they're dancing and playing harps. He's like, it's like American Idol. Next, you're not going through. No, you're not going through to Hollywood. You get on the boat and get up out of here. Go back to wherever you came from, honey. He's not selecting everybody, okay? I mean, look at how even with King Xerxes. Now, fact check me, you Bible people who know your Bible. Wasn't it Xerxes, the king of Persia? Okay, he had a harem too. No big deal. I don't know if you compared harems. I think, again, Solomon is off the charts with the harem game. But, Xerxes he was holding down a strong harem. And remember when we call her Queen Esther, right? She was, at the time, her name was, I'm forgetting, what was her original name? Esther. Somebody throw it down there. Do you remember her original name before she became Esther? Anybody remember? I know you all know this. Come on, throw it in the chatmosphere. Light it up, light it up. Look it up. This is always an open book kind of situation. Open phone. Does someone say Queen Latifah? This is why Adam is getting a star today, because we love Adam. We love when he does this. Adam says Queen Latifah is the only queen. Adam, you are graduating today. You are graduating today. You are in the honors class. Hadessa. That's right. Someone said, who, that's okay, Christine. Hadessa. That's right. You said Joy says Ishtar. Um, hmm. Does she also have a name like I don't know about Ishtar for her. I got to get all my goddesses and I don't think Esther no, oh I know what you're saying. Yeah, I think I know what you're saying. But I'm talking about Hadessa. So Hadessa, before she could go in to see Xerxes, remember, she prepared for this long amount of time. She was taking milk baths. She was being prepared with oils and perfumes, and her hair was being, I don't know, what were they doing to her hair? Things, okay? She was going through beautification rituals before she was presented to be chosen. So these women had to look perfect. Like if it were today, they would have to be the girls with the BBLs, like the Kardashians. They would be the type of women, okay? They don't want regular schmegulars. They want this stuff here. And my goodness, what did he teach his son David? David, another one, the weakness for the women. David was so bad, everybody. You all know about him with Bathsheba. That was always so funny. Bathsheba was taking a bath. I don't know if it's true. We'll get into that too. Put that on the list. Bathsheba, who was his, they say this was his son's girl. And I don't know how that, I have to go back, and it was 1 year of preparation. That was 1 year of preparation. So that's like going to spas every day for a year, going to a spa. I don't know. Some of you might not think that was too bad, right? So you're going to the spas, getting the latest. They're rubbing out all your cellulite, girls. They're like doing, if you got a little thing here, getting it all done. We're pulling them eyes up tight. We'll hide it right behind the scalp, getting you right, okay, for 1 year, okay? The Libby said, no, he's a smooth operator. You know it. He's a smooth operator. You wouldn't want to, you have to be ready for this level of game. This is what they call game. Like the pickup artists, right? They got nothing on these guys because they are learning ancient secrets. I'm going to get into it. I'm going to put my tinfoil turban on in a minute, okay? But I'm easing us into it because I know I did a little shock with the last video. I know it was pretty dark, okay? But okay, so King David. Okay, so he's not above killing a dude to take his girl, even though he can have any woman he wants, okay? But he's not above it. So this just shows you they're not perfect people. Jah does not have to use perfect people to accomplish his plan. And that's where a lot of us get tripped up because we want to hear only good things about these men and people, just women too. We only want to see perfection, and we hold people at a higher standard than is even it's ridiculous, right? So King David, the thing that really got me when I was younger and I heard this, I couldn't get my head around how much of a womanizer this dude was until his dying day. Do you remember the story that he was an old king now? He was, on death's bed, and he needed to have young women brought into his bed to keep him warm. Even as an old dude, he wanted little young girls, I think, brought into his bed to keep him warm. Ah, that's so gross to think of a young girl having to lay in the bed with this. Gross. So anyway, back to King David. I don't know. What do you think? What do you think he might have looked like? I gave you a nice array here, but what do you think? I'm just saying, He could look like any one of these things. I think bearded. I don't think he was, the little goatee or anything. Yeah, right. What a pig, right? Gross. Old dude. Ah, gross. So, yeah, there we go. Let's put the tinfoil turbans on. So basically, I don't know what you think about the Star of David, as they call it, the Seal of Solomon. That's the star that we see. I won't say it. I'm trying to fly under the radar. But here's a ring that has the insignia of the Seal of Solomon. I don't know where that actually would be found, the Seal of Solomon. I Someone help me, okay? Help me. Is the Star of David the Seal of Solomon? Even if it is the Seal of Solomon, okay. Solomon was into things that were not good. Are we agreeing? So are we going to be shocked that maybe Solomon did create this sigil? Maybe. What do you think? Did he create a sigil like this? Because he learned it from all of the weird tribes that he married into, that he started picking up all these different things? Let me know. Tenye, you're here. The up and down triangles. Yeah. Well, the one on the right is the symbol of the Lama. This is the religion of the scientist. Okay. So it looks like a lot of the similarities with these triangles. And if you look at the Lama, it actually looks a little bit like the Star Trek triangle. Do you see what I'm saying? The Star Trek God's Alley. What are you saying? You're saying Star of David, not good. Freemason symbolism. Okay. A lot of you feel that the Star of David is not good. Alan, hi. Thanks for coming by to see us. Yeah, so, yeah, yep. So there you are. Solomon, he was too wise for his own good. But at the end of his life, he regretted a lot that he did. He recognized that he had everything in the world and it didn't mean anything at the end of the day. He said it was all vanity. I think we should take his word for it. I think he knew a little bit more than a lot of us would ever get close to this type of life, to know what that was like to be Solomon. So, the temple is the big focus with the Freemasons and all these secrets and things and builders and stonemasons and all of this stuff. And, we talk about architecture a lot in our night classes. And, we'll talk more about things like that, especially when I do a thing for Solomon. I definitely want to talk about architecture. Maybe we'll pick an area of the world to focus on. So this was, the subject, like if you're just joining the previous video about this trio of scientists, and that's what I'm going to call them, because we are now seeing that science is not what we thought it was. I didn't know when science became religion. I didn't know when that happened. It seemed like somebody switched it up while I was sleeping, and all of the sudden, science is religion in our culture. So we have here Aleister Crowley, L. Ron Hubbard, and Jack Parsons. So Jack Parsons was a rocket scientist that founded the Jet Propulsion Laboratory in Pasadena, California. Jack Parsons created the modern rocket fuel. So you could just extrapolate that everything that comes out of that exploration, NASA, kind of growing out of all of this stuff. And he met up with L. Ron Hubbard. These two. Now, Jack Parsons was called a sex magician. He did sex magic. He was being tutored by Aleister Crowley. And then L. Ron Hubbard turns out to be the sleeper of this trio. I just thought he was just wackadoodle, UFO wackadoodle kind of dude, that he just wanted to start a weird cult that only had Hollywood people. Okay, I wasn't looking into L. Ron Hubbard so much. I don't know. I didn't know what I didn't know. L. Ron Hubbard and Jack Parsons and Aleister Crowley are probably the most influential men of our modern history. And the fact that we don't know that so much is also, I believe, with my tinfoil turban, by design. That we only look at them as just harebrained crazies, that they're on the fringe of society. No. People are following the work of these men. And I'm just going to go and say it. NASA is embedded within this ancient information, this ancient knowledge. And the thing about this knowledge, it predates Egypt. So a lot of us, we were into Egypt. Oh, Egypt. Oh, pharaohs walk like an Egyptian. We're just obsessed with Egypt, okay? But Egypt is not the place where these ancient secrets come from. Egypt is fairly young compared to the ancient information. And this is what Crowley tapped into. He didn't tap into this Egyptian stuff, even though he uses all this Egyptian symbology. But a lot of that symbology didn't initially come from the Egyptians. This is ancient. It's before. Now, when you go to Giza in Egypt and you see the Sphinx, the cat, that is older than the pyramids, as I know a lot of you all know that. It's older. So, you can see the water lines for you mud flood people, deniers. You can't deny that you see water lines on the Sphinx and on a lot of Antiquitech. I've seen it with my own eyes. I've seen this stuff. You can see the wearing away of the stone and everything from the waters that used to be all around. Not to get off on that, but the Egyptians, even, a lot of people in the so-called Black community, they want to take credit for being Egyptian. When you really look at the Egyptians and what they were into, you will not want to be claiming that you were from the line of any of these pharaohs. Did anyone see the depiction of what King Tut would really look like? You would be surprised how they could recreate even the features. And these pharaohs were marrying their sisters. They were one pharaoh married his daughter and had a child. They were intermarrying. They looked like freaks, okay? I don't know if they were Nephilim with the big heads and all. We'll get into it, okay? But let me tell you, you will not be trying to claim that you are from some freaking pharaohs when you look at all the weird crap that they were doing, the incest. Like, come on, man. Get over it. Stop trying to claim people. Why? Don't want to be a king. We was kings. We was kings. You don't want to be a king. Have you read what's going to happen to the kings? Oh my God. They're not going to have a good retirement plan being a king. So just know being a king ain't where it's at. Hello, Joseph. I'm glad you're here. Welcome from Ireland. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, no, I don't want to be a king or a queen. I don't want it. No, thank you. So, okay. Listen, I need help. I think I found some negrescence. Okay. I think I did. I think I found negrescence. Now, I don't go looking for negrescence. Can somebody put it in the chatmosphere? Just say she doesn't look for negrescence. She doesn't. I don't look for negrescence. Can you please put it in the chatmosphere if you believe me? Say she doesn't look for negrescence. It's just, it pops up when I least expect it. Okay, listen, I'm not being funny. When I was doing my research with this crazy Jack Parsons, okay, he saw this entity, and I don't know what he named this entity. Tyrone, I don't know. Don't get mad at me. Don't call me a racist. But when you look at this entity that Jack Parsons summoned up, I want you to take a screenshot if you can. And I want you to do the thing with your finger and enlarge this picture and tell me what you see. Or go and do a quick, we'll wait, because I want to get a confirmation, but by at least 2 people. What do you see? Thank you, Lori. She doesn't look for negrescence. Thank you. Thank you, Lori. Lori agrees. I don't go looking for negrescence. But can somebody tell me what kind of dude this angel looks like? Adam says, I love that angel. Adam loves the angel. What did we go? You think Christine said it looks like Chuck Schumer. Oh my God, that's funny. I just need somebody tell me. I'm not even being funny. I swear. Do a quick, do whatever you do on your device and take a screenshot and look at this guy and tell me, am I tripping? Am I tripping? You said he looks like the Joker. You said he looks like Hunter Biden. I'm just saying, okay? I'm just looks like my mother-in-law when she's mad. Oh gosh, that's funny. You say Eddie Monster? Yeah, he has like a widow's peak. You see it? But is that an afro? Come on, y'all. Don't be shy. Doesn't this entity look like he has an afro? He's light skinned, okay? I'm just saying he's not, he's a light skin with an afro, okay? All right, maybe he's from Yemen or something. He could be from anywhere. He could be South Pacific. He could be from Samoa. I'm just saying, somebody look at this guy. Molly said he looks like Lenny Kravitz. Adam says you have an afro. That's okay. Oh my God. Okay, I'm gonna take him off because or he looks like Don King. Okay. All right. For anybody who might be freaked out. Okay, let's talk about the Scarlet Woman because I'm getting off on these tangents. I just want to hang out. Okay, the Scarlet Woman. Does anybody take offense at this name? I didn't create it. I'm just reporting the information, okay? Britt said, you better ask. I can't even get it out. I'm like, hi, Britt, you better ask him. One of my family members, actually, story time. One of my family members, she was in corporate America, and one of her managers, he was like, he said certain things that, they wanted to help the brother out. Like, don't say that in meetings. But he used to say, ax instead of ask. You better ask somebody. He would be in these big board meetings saying, ax. And she would tell the stories. It was so funny. Okay, so the Scarlet Woman, the reason I'm talking about this, and I'm tying it into Denise Matthews, because one of the things that came out from the research into these men is that they used women as portals. So Parsons and L. Ron Hubbard were in the deserts, like the Mojave Desert and the area around Area 50. What is it? Area 54. Which 50 is it? Area 51, Area 52? I just think it's Area 51 through 54. I forget. Tell me what area it is that they do all the weird stuff at. So they were down there doing their thing, like so gross, okay? I won't gross you out totally, but they eat things, they make cakes, like we said with what Nas did, Area 51, okay? Area 51. So they're doing these sex rituals at Area 51. They're into bringing through these entities. So they knew what they were doing. In fact, the son of L. Ron Hubbard said that his father practiced the same black magic that Hitler practiced. So do you hear that? That is so deep. The son said that this magic comes from way before Egypt. It's very dangerous magic. It's very powerful magic. And he said it makes brainwashing look like child's play. You said Club 54. Club 54. So just know that these men are not playing when they study the Crowley rituals. They look for women to bring through as portals, to bring through entities and to give birth to children that they call moon children. So they're having these orgies, and the woman is looking forward to being impregnated on this special night, and all the witchy poo stuff that they do. And the women are powerful vessels. This is how their magic works. Crowley, he went to Egypt. The whole story. He got a powerful channel from a powerful entity, old ancient entity, that he named Lamb or Ayahuasca or whatever. And they employ drugs while they're doing these rituals. And he got the whole recipe for writing the book of the law, which is their Bible. It outlines the rituals that they do to this day. This is still being done. Okay. Rosemary's Baby. There you are. So the women, the moon child that Parsons and Ron Hubbard were working to bring through, they felt that people feel that they were successful. So they had a woman impregnated with this moon child, and the moon child would be in their 50s, maybe the 50s. Some people did say that. Hey, Cat's Corner, I heard, I was listening to some really fringe radio show or whatever, and some people believe that Hillary was their Moonchild. I don't know if the dates work out, because it would have to be, you all do the math. This Moonchild would have to have been conceived in 1946, like February, March-ish. I believe around that time, 1946. And I don't think Hillary, I think is off by a year. So I don't know, but I have heard that. Cats, how you doing? Thanks for joining. So, the women who are into this sexual liberation, they may not realize they're being used, and some of them do know they're being used. They fully are consenting for this, but it's very dangerous, and they look at women as disposable. So there's no love, no, just, let's see, 1969 birthed a lot of Moonies. Now that's a name I haven't seen in a while, Adam. The Moonies. Wow. Sung Young Moon. I used to hear a lot about Sung Young Moon. So one of the visions, or, the way they describe this woman, it's like what we've always heard, like she's the whore of Babylon. And in fact, the entity that they got in touch with, Parsons, they actually said that it was the spirit of Babylon. So you be the judge, but they were doing some weird stuff. So this woman, this red Scarlet Woman riding on the beast, and there you go. Hey Jenny, your son and daughter-in-law were born on a blue moon 2 days apart. Wow, really? You say Prince William, supposedly the Moonchild, birthday falls on very freaky numbers. Oh, really? Because, okay, so this is how I understood it. You can double check me. I think they were saying, okay, so 1947 or 46, this Moonchild was born, and it would be a girl. So then she was to give birth to whatever. What do you want to call that baby? That baby's going to be woo. Okay. I don't know the numbers and the ages of what that might look like. So, they talk about the Scarlet Witch, the Scarlet. So it's very deep. If you want to watch the video to get a full, like what I was talking about with that. Okay. Have you heard that? I mean, I'm just reporting what's going on here. And I know it just seems like it's one thing after another, but we have to not take our eye off of the children, please. I know you know this already, but they're really coming with different kind of schemes. So you have Cardi B. Have you all heard about this? If you have little children that watch Nickelodeon or Nick Jr., Cardi B and her husband Offset and her daughter, I believe, they are doing a TV show. They're guest or whatever on a TV show about baby sharks. So this is based on Offset and Cardi B. So you can see the shark is dressed with the big hoop earrings and, whatever Cardi B would look like as a baby shark. But this is it's disturbing. I mean, they're not hiding that they are after the children. They really aren't. And I would just give a heads up to anybody who has children. I mean, they are casting spells. They're doing all kinds of things. And children, this is like the hardest time to be a child that I can say. So just know that that's happening. So I don't know how. She's definitely a Scarlet Woman, and people make excuses for her. She has so much support from women, and this is like that I don't know what wave of feminism we're on right now. I guess this is the Omicron wave of feminism. Is this the Omega? What is the last letter in the Greek alphabet? Is this the Omega of the feminist movement? This is when the Scarlet Woman is now teaching children. We've gone that far with this feminism. It's crazy. So yeah, hide your kids. She doesn't even let her own child probably watch a lot of the stuff she does. And it reminds me of the whole Pan issue. So they are luring the children, Pan and his flute. It's so many references to Pan. In fact, with these scientists, they reference Pan a lot. So, I talked about the chimeras, the hybrids, the things like that. I believe, just to put it on the record, I believe that these things are not myth. Anything they call myth from the ancient days, I don't believe they're myths. So I believe they really did do genetic engineering and create these kind of satyrs or whatever, these goat men kind of. I believe it. Okay, you can tease me if you want, but I believe it's true. And so Aleister Crowley is so influential that it's unbelievable. So look at this kind of stuff, how I sometimes will find the cosplay of it all. And look at this. This looks like a child to me. I don't know. It could be like a really young adult. But when I saw this, I was like, you got to be kidding. The kids are dressing up as Aleister Crowley. Are you serious? We have to reject this culture. We have to expose it, reject it as much as we can. Do not let them get away with this stuff because it's just ridiculous. So this is a quote by Crowley, just to give you an idea of this, the influence. He said, "I am a poet and I like my lies the way my mother used to make them. Yes, Joseph, myth equals real history. I'm starting to realize that. Yes." So when you think about who was the mother to this man who called himself the most evil man ever, he's considered the most evil man. In fact, they said Aleister Crowley had so many awards from the Freemason lodges that he was a member of. I think they said his awards would fill a home. He was the most awarded, the most, whatever they call every award they get, pens, and he was the most awarded Freemason in the history of Freemasonry, Aleister Crowley. So there you are. To think that he was influential with science and our space program, and it involves sex magic rituals, unbelievable, right? So that was one of his quotes. And, I just want you all to see him as a regular person, because we like to see all the, they want us rather to think of him in all the cosplay, crazy costumes. But no, I want you to see him as a regular looking man, because he moved through society as a regular person that would look like, a distinguished man. He didn't go around outside of his rituals dressed crazy like you see in the pictures. He looked like this. I mean, he might not be your type, but I'm just saying, he looked like a granddad or something. So you could be looking at a Crowley. I've taken care of old men that were at the end of their lives that were Crowley type of men, like wealthy. They had yachts and airplanes and owned, sports teams, and they're dying, and you could just see that they lived a life of degeneracy. Nobody comes to visit them. All the women that they've discarded, not one will come visit them when they're dying and they're pooping in their diapers, but they live like the devil. I could write a book about the many men, not just men, women too, but the many men that die alone in hospitals. Their children live like less than 10 miles away. Nobody comes to see them because they treated people like trash. So just know, nurses, we have seen things that, in terms of the human condition, we could write books upon books. It was the best lesson in human nature to be a nurse for over 30 years. So Aleister Crowley said that magic is the science and art of causing change to occur in conformity with will. So these people, they opened up some very powerful magic. And this is what we are up against. And that's why, the church has us ill prepared to deal with the spiritual world. We're so spooked out. Oh no, I can't go to sleep without the lights on because I just saw this video about Aleister Crowley. Some people are scared of their shadow. And that's when, we learn in these days that a lot of people are faint at heart. This is not the time to be faint at heart. It really isn't. If you feel that your heart is getting faint, like I said earlier, I am encouraging you to pray to Jah to strengthen your heart for the days to come. I'm not trying to black pill you or be a scaremonger. I am just telling you the things that I'm receiving, and I'm sharing it. Not for you to freak out, but for you to ask for wisdom from the only source of wisdom. It is the bottomless well of wisdom is Jah. You will not go wrong. No person will lead you astray if you go straight to the source. To the source, okay? Do not fear. And this is another thing, like, look at Aleister Crowley, like the Family Guy. Look at this guy. Would you think that he was as evil? This is the guy who's making cakes of light, teaching people how to do the Eucharist for the Mass. This is the guy who says, live and do as thy will, is the whole of his law, his rebellion against Jah. I'm just saying, if you look at this picture, he looks like an everyday nice guy. Doesn't he to you? Look at the wife. They look like a cute little couple that you see at Trader Joe's picking up cookies for the baby, and probably has a golden retriever, right? I'm just saying, a lot of evil doesn't always look scary. That's my point. Okay, so this quote is the one that a lot of us know. Every man and every woman is a star. So see, this is where our culture has derailed, because this is something that comes from Crowley. Do you see why I'm saying that he is more influential on our culture than I initially knew? I've heard that he made this quote, but it wasn't until I did more research to see the impact of saying that everybody is a star. We have to be careful because, this is where we are today. Everybody wants to be a star. Everybody wants to be famous, that, thirsty for this kind of lifestyle of being a star. And I just had to reevaluate a lot of this stuff. And the fact that the stars are the ones that are used in this hermetic mystery play, they use celebrity and stars and gods and idols. This is to pervert our worship. It has perverted us. And that's why we have, a lot of us are turning away from, we're getting these spells broken off of us, where we can look at these people with a balanced view and really see the evil that they have brought into our world. They have been conduits for opening portals. A lot of portals were opened in certain years. Like the most recent would be 2017, when there were so many portals. That's when things were really going haywire, because they're doing these rituals. That's why, listen, if you are a child of Jah, get busy with that prayer work, okay? That spiritual warfare, because these people are serious about what they're doing. They're serious. They're waking up at 3 a.m, going outside naked, dancing around candles. While you're sleeping, right? I'm asleep too. I'm not up at 3 all the time, but they have their hours. They know that we're asleep, and they're doing their shenanigans, okay? Jumping out of coffins, conjuring entities to have sex with. They're eating cakes of light. They're doing all this stuff. And some of us our Bibles have dust on them, okay? Oh, by the way, they read the Bible too. They don't want you reading it. They want you to question the legitimacy of it. But guess what? They're reading it, by the way. Yeah. Did you know that? They pervert it though, but they know the power of the scripture. They pervert it. So anyway, let's just talk about, moving on. Let's talk about 1940s. And I'm going to get into this, I'm going to drill down. These are going to be some of the things that factor into the whole, I'm going to do something on mermaids and the marine kingdom. So when we think about sirens, who's our sister in here that calls herself the scorched siren? So the sirens of the 40s, okay, they had a beauty. I know you can agree. Their beauty was on another level. Look at the aesthetic of the women this is the time period where these big portals were opening up. And right after Parsons and Hubbard were in the desert doing their sex magic rituals to bring through these entities, you had women of the day, of the culture, that were called the Screen Sirens. And a lot of the silhouettes of their clothing look like mermaids, mermaid tails, the gowns and everything, the high glamour. But, they posed a certain way. Women are not doing this anymore. They're not posing. It's a certain power to this. Excuse me. It was a power to their beauty. They were using this to cast spells. These spells were powerful too, because they were using a feminine beauty that we don't see now. Now it's so blurred. You don't see this level of beauty and femininity. So these are some of the, this is, you recognize Lena Horne. Look at how she's posed, with the hand, and, they wore gloves, and, they took the gloves off. This is like a different type of Scarlet Woman. You might get offended because these are maybe some people's favorite idols, but we have to, please do not defend these idols and get all in your feelings, because I mean, we just, hopefully we'll get to the point where we start to see them for the true nature of what they were used for. So you have Lena Horne. I don't know who else these other women are. It's mainly for the aesthetics. That's right, Molly. No more do. And I knew somebody. I knew somebody. I'm not even gonna read. I'm gonna take a drink right now. I knew y'all were gonna do it. Sean, I knew, come through on everybody's ado. I love it. Some of them are dudes. Yes. That's a rabbit hole. If you want to stay up with the lights on, no, I don't think so. It's just shocking. It's too much. Your what is it, cognitive dissonance, it goes ree, just to think that they pulled one over like this on us, right? Oh, it's so hard to just put your head around that one, right? Yes, Sharon, seduction and hypnotized by lust. There you go. Chris. So yeah, these are the sirens, and we're going to talk about sirens. So, when you look at this piece of art, it looks like something like maybe a child, or, maybe a young artist, I'll say, young artist painted this. I don't know about you, but I'm not going to help this kind of mermaid out of the water. I'm going to be like, sis, you're going to have to stay in that water, chicken of the sea. I'm not holding my hand out to help her out of the water. I don't know about you, but she's traveling with a snake. That's a deal breaker right there, mermaid. That is a deal breaker. Do you hear me? Are you going to pull her out, Sharon? Are you going to give her a hand out of the water, Adam? Adam thinks everything is cute. You think this mermaid is cute, Adam? Are you going to help sis out of the water? You're going to reach in and help sis? Oh, that's right. Held to the nah, nah. Snakes aren't bad. So that snake is good. Adam, are you going to help sis out of the water? That's all I want to know. Adam, I just want to know if Adam would help her out of the water. A deal breaker, Sea Breeze. A deal breaker. Her company. I don't like the company she's keeping. Are you going to help her out of the water? No, baby, no. Right, Alan? She could stay right there, chicken of the sea. No way. That's an evil chicken of the sea. Scoochie. Oh, wow. Really, Roxanne? She says mermaids ate the sailors. And ooh, I'm going to get into some mermaid stuff because I had some experiences with some marine life. I won't get into it all the way now. No thanks, right? That's right. We're not playing with mermaids. So let's talk about Denise Matthews real quick. So, the story, the narrative is all the same, okay? Oh, the guru is here. Hey, the guru. I would help that snake before. So you would help the snake before you would help her. That's funny. Oh, yeah. Joy said, don't fear snakes. Now, I'm not going to say that part because people, for all the snake lovers, they will get mad if I say that part. Okay, Joy. So back to Denise, right? Back to Denise. I get on my tangents. Thanks for hanging out if you're still hanging out. Okay, so then you have the typical narrative of the pretty girl, the pretty little girl. She was born to an interracial couple. So looks like mom there is possibly stage mom, not sure. Anytime I see pageants and stuff, it's me. I probably have a prejudice when I see pageants, girls in pageants now. I think stage mother. That's what comes to my mind. So maybe we're dealing with stage mothers here. And she won some beauty contest. And that's the thing about beauty contests. When you think about the whole trajectory of beauty contests and what it feeds into, can we get away from that? It's so exploitative. So she was, beauty queen. And ladies, be careful of the nicknames that people want to give you, because a nickname, just, when you think about Nick is a nickname for Satan, the devil. Nick, old Nick, right? So old Nick is like a name you give in jest to jester, the jester. So the nickname is like a play name. So Prince gave her the name Vanity. Now, I don't know if she was just really thirsty for fame and everything. She got into some really dark things. So she consented to this name Vanity. And of all the things to be called, Vanity. So she became a powerful portal. This woman influenced so many people, so many women, so many girls. And she realized that at the end of her life. She apologized a lot, because this is a story of redemption, not judging her. I got to interact with her. She's probably still on my friends list on Facebook, because she was very active on Facebook. I would look forward to seeing what she posted, because I was fascinated by her transformation. I used to like Prince a lot, and any group that he produced, or the time, with Morris Day, and I was all into that. I was the big Prince fan. So of course I'm going to like this girl group that he produced, Vanity 6. Yeah, Tenye, right? Vanity 6 did influence you as a young girl, yes. And she totally, what's sad about a legacy, and this is, I know that a lot of young people don't like to listen to older people, because what do we know? But when we're in this era of social media, if you go and look for her name, her real name, Denise Matthews, you won't see it, like say in Wikipedia. It will bring up Vanity. So it was something that she couldn't shake. It was stuck to her as a legacy. But one thing I did like is that didn't stop her. Mickey Free. We have the funniest time with Mickey Free. If you're a big Dave Chappelle, do you know about Mickey Free? I was into all of this, okay? So Denise Matthews took on this powerful entity, I believe, that Prince put in he put this in motion by naming her Vanity. And I know a lot of people like Prince to this day, and it's going to be a hard thing to shed a lot of our favorite musicians. But I'm looking at Prince in a different light right now. I'm not going to be defensive for any celebrity. I'm not. I'm going to keep an open mind, that when I'm shown information that shows me that he's a Brotherhood member, he's part of the Hermetic, stuff too. It's a lot in his background that it's not clean, okay? The buttermilk ain't clean, okay? So I have to be balanced when I look at him. I'm not going to have any idols. So yeah. So she comes from a background like many of the Scarlet Women, where somebody molested her. Maybe, I don't know how many, that whole part of her background, but she did share that things happened to her. She was, a very beautiful girl. A lot of times when a child is very attractive, the attraction, they, unfortunately, there are a lot of people that are attracted to children. I mean, a lot of adults. So if a child is very attractive, then more attention is going to be on that child. Some really pretty little girls, they're very shy about being pretty because they know that it gives, it puts attention on them. So, she had things happen in her early childhood, which explains why she didn't have the boundaries that would have protected her. And she mentions a lot of, like, in her old interviews, she, in this coat that she's wearing to the right, she claimed that it was a gorilla coat, like gorilla fur. I don't know if it's true, if she was really wearing a gorilla fur coat. I've never heard anybody doing that. And that's one of the things about her. She played a lot with the public, but I don't know how much of it was true, because her interviews were extremely disturbing. And she even did a movie. I won't even show the picture because it's so, it looks so disturbing, where she was in some B movie, and it involved maybe a, Tarzan type of thing, where she's with this big ape gorilla. And I won't go any further, but you can go ahead and make the conclusion of what was going on with her and the gorilla. Very clear from the picture. So it's a lot of disturbing things that happen to women in this industry, or within these secret societies, where the boundaries for their bodies are violated. They don't have boundaries. And a lot of times they are broken as children. They are born into families where they start out without boundaries. So this is very unfortunate. But this is where a lot of these scarlet women come from, these backgrounds. And what was sad to me when I looked at pictures now, as opposed to, I didn't pick up on it then exactly, definitely without a doubt. But she looks drugged. You can see her eyes. She looks heavily drugged. And when you hear her testimony, like I said, I'm connected with her on Facebook. She died in 2017, I believe, or 16. But she shared a lot. She was very active every day. She put really inspiring, uplifting. She was not shy about her faith. After coming from where she went, she was not shy. She didn't care if people were offended that she was always quoting the Bible. This woman came from the brink of death and hell. So she didn't care about offending people with the fact that she found an answer to her brokenness. And I know she helped a lot of people. And I really did love her testimony and her boldness. And I've even she did ministry up in Northern California, and I was in Southern California, and I even went to hear her testimony. I used to listen to TBN back in the day. Maybe some of you all did too, but they had a studio. I was living in Southern California. They had a studio in Orange County where you can go and see live shows with, guests. So Denise was on a show, and I went to listen to her testimony live. And, we got connected on Facebook, and I even called up to her. I was on her prayer calls like in the morning sometimes. And she even like returned, like I called her for some reason. I don't know what, for prayer for somebody. And she called me back, which I was surprised. She literally called me back, and she ended up talking to my aunt who really like was so lonely, and she talked to her for so long, and it was just sweet. One of those things where you can just say, I believe that she had a true transformation. I really do. And I don't know how you all feel, but I do. I believe she was. And when she was down in the dumps of her depravity, she even dated Nikki Sixx of Motley Crue. Now, I want to read something that Nikki Sixx said about her. Very disturbing. But he says, okay, this is his, I'm kicking his wiki. Sixx was engaged to Denise Vanity Matthews in 1987. Now, I didn't know they were engaged. Did you all know that? So in his autobiography, The Heroin Diaries, a year in the life of a shattered rock star. By the way, all stars are shattered at the end. Sixx described his toxic relationship with Denise. And he says, quote, Vanity came and went during different periods of my addiction. She was a wild black chick who had sung with Prince. She'd also been his lover for a while. At the time, I thought of Vanity as a disposable human being, like a used needle. Once its purpose was fulfilled, it was ready for the trash, only to be dug up if you were really desperate. He said they had become drug buddies, but you could call them boyfriend and girlfriend. But I guess even more if he, he was engaged. So he says Vanity also taught him how to really freebase. So he didn't know how to freebase like that until he met Denise. Now, that's shocking to me because you all know, like, Nikki Sixx, are you kidding? If you're teaching Nikki Sixx from Motley Crue how to use drugs better, that she was no lightweight to drugs then. That gives you an idea of how she was destroyed. I mean, Sis's body was destroyed by the drugs. It was very sad. She had to be on dialysis almost every day at the end of her life. It was extremely sad. So as you can see, they always had her in the dark, the black, witch, whatever you want to call it. I've even seen pictures of her in a top hat. But this is how these women are used. And she gave a powerful testimony in her book called Blame It on Vanity. I don't know if anybody wants to get it. I don't know if it would help her out at this point, she didn't have children, but help her family. I don't know what's going on with the sales of the book, but she does give a testimony if you do want to look into it. But just very sad. She was very honest about her drug use. She didn't blame anybody. She took full accountability and responsibility for what she got involved in. So very, powerful testimony. So as you can see, beauty fades. Not that she's not she wasn't beautiful as an older woman, but I'm just saying that she was a beautiful older woman. But the sexy stuff, that fades. This system is so vampiric. They're always looking for the newer version, replacing, just like Nikki Sixx said, he looked at her as disposable. Well, that's pretty much what this world does to women and men. But especially in this particular, the way that they use the Scarlet Women, they use them as, like they say, porta potties, as receptacles for trash, and they discard them. And she was discarded by so many people in Hollywood at the end of her life. Like, she was on Facebook trying to sell a lot of her personal items. She was always, raising money and things like that. The money is not there. It's just really sad, but she is not in that pain anymore. And, she suffered a lot. And as you can see, as she was getting, more ill, her hair was very thinned, and, she was a lot of fun. Like, she would put really funny posts up. She loved her cats. And I do see the leopard print there. I know probably somebody picked that up, but, she loved her cats, and she always joked about being a crazy cat lady, and she just had a sense of humor. And I do miss her in terms of, like, I used to be on Facebook a lot. I know I'm not on Facebook reading Facebook stuff anymore. I kind of post and I leave, but I used to look forward to her post. I really did. And I miss her. I really do. But I am of the belief that she is with Jah. And I thank Jah for being so merciful to Denise, so gracious, so gracious. I really do. I could almost, like, I get a little choked up, but this was the announcement for, her celebration of life. And, I think that her life could be a powerful lesson for people to know that it's not the road. It is not, fame is not the way to go. It really isn't. And you can find some of her, testimony sharing type of, she would visit a lot of churches. If you ever want to look her up, you can look up Denise Matthews. I think she went by Evangelist Denise Matthews if you do searches, and you can find some of her, speaking. And I'm telling you, she was lively, just lots of energy. And the thing about the whole free love, and, they might say that the hoe is winning, the whore is winning in our society. That may seem like it, but the thing that this soul cracking, and that's what L. Ron Hubbard did to women, and that's what they learned to do in these systems. L. Ron Hubbard's son reported that his father did something called soul cracking. And this is like an alchemy that they would use to channel through the women. And, they would crack their soul, they said. It sounds horrible. So again, this is to degrade women, and it warps love, the natural love instinct. And it, the warping, you remember the warping of the records? That's what I just think of when we start to accept all of these weird practices, cakes of light, and all of this weirdness. The warping that happens, when you had a record like this, you could not play it anymore. But I had just shared with, on a roundtable, that I learned that there was a machine, there's something out there that will actually iron out a warped record. Did anybody know that? Like, you could literally take a warped record and you can fix it in this particular machine. So I look at that as hopeful, like a hopeful message that if if we've been warped by this world, we can have all of those warped areas ironed out. We really can. So just know, you know, there's hope. If you fell into some traps in your life and you feel like you're warped, just reach out to Jah. Ask him to iron out all those warped areas. And, I like to just encourage you with some powerful words to consider. Okay. And I'm going to read this. Do not be offended. Come on, listen to these powerful words. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. Wherefore, take unto you the whole armor of God, that ye may be able to withstand the evil day, and having done all, to stand. Stand, therefore, having your loins girt about with truth, and having on the breastplate of righteousness, and your feet shod with the preparation of the gospel of peace. Above all, taking the shield of faith, wherewith ye shall be able to quench all of the fiery darts of the wicked, and take the helmet of salvation and the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of Jah, praying always with all prayer and supplication in the Spirit, and watching thereunto with all perseverance and supplication for all saints. And for me, that utterance may be given unto me, that I may open my mouth boldly to make known the mystery of the gospel, for which I am an ambassador in chains, that therein I may speak boldly as I ought to speak. So for those of us that love mysteries, that's a mystery to get into. It's a lot of mysteries, okay? If you like them, you could start with some of these here. This is the type of warfare that I am entering into in these days. Yes, indeed. So I want to say thank you. I love you. And just a little bit about Vanity, okay? Vanity, let's see what King Solomon learned about vanity. I like this. This is a proverb. So that's David, right? Did a lot of the proverbs. Remove me far from vanities and lies. Give me neither poverty nor riches. Feed me with food convenient for me. Wow. I like that. Being content. I don't need to be famous. I don't need to be rich. Just give me my daily bread. That's all. I'll be happy. Not like Klaus Schwab wants us to be happy. We don't want his system, right? But that's it for today. I wanted to just, share that, just to show that there is redemption for all of us. And I'm, even though I miss Denise, I am happy that she is home safely with Jah, our Father. And, she gave such a powerful testimony of what she learned in life. It was painful lesson, but if you want to share her testimony with anybody or read it for yourself, I believe that it's a powerful one. So, I just want to say I'll see you soon. Thank you for all the love and thanks for joining me. If you're on Facebook or Twitch, thank you so much. And I'll see you real soon. Okay. And again, of course, I always let you know if you want to tip your hostess, you do it right there. I'll see you real soon. I don't know like when, but I'll be around. I'm doing, like I said, so much research. If you have any ideas, let me know. If I haven't gotten to your messages, give me a minute because I've just got a few things going on. But I think somebody told me they were sending me an email. I've been looking for it. But if you've sent me an email or whatever, just resend it. Maybe it went into my spam thing. I'm not sure. But I'm doing the best I can to stay on top of the communications. But I just want to say, hang in there. You're more than conquerors, and get with the mystery of the gospel. Look into that mystery. Until next time, love you and be blessed.